Hi, I'm Dr. Nesteren Gazioglu. I have completed my bachelor's degree at Koç University Psychology Department, and after that, I have accomplished a career in both academic and also in couple and family therapy counseling. I have completed my counseling with the Virginia Satir systemic approach. Currently, I'm lecturing at Bilgi University. I have retired from Maltepe University Psychology Department last year, and I still continue supervising and lecturing at Satir Institute Human Development Center. I also take much roles at some projects in NGO levels with TOÇEV, TEV, Türkiye Eğitim Vakfı, and also with Couple and Family Therapy Association in Istanbul. I'm 45 years old. Currently, I'm working at Satir Human Development and Family Therapy Institute. I'm a supervisor and a lecturer. I have been working in the field for 23 years. When saying this, it's so much, but it just passed like a year. During this 23 years journey, I have both worked as an academic and also I have worked as a counselor as well. With regard to technology, I have implemented the Technology Center at Maltepe University. There we have conducted many projects, and one of the projects that I have conducted prior to establishing that center was the Toche project with Samsung. They were the sponsors of that project. In that project, we have focused on several items with regard to pandemic that was developed during the pandemic, and we implemented the use of technology with regard to family. The families have lack of information with regard to technology. And when we look at the research, we see that most of the family members are unaware of the intact of the children with their. For example, when a child needs the phone, the mother or father, the parent, or any elder member of the family might hand in the phone to the child, but they might be unaware of the hidden advertisements, of the hidden adult content there as well. So in that project, we majorly focus on be aware of sharing your phone with the little ones. Besides that, I have traveled around Turkey with Tochev and we have worked with the families and adolescents as well. We majorly focused on the systemic perspective. With regard to systemic perspective, within the system, there are some parts, the families, school, teachers, the adolescents, the technology, the cyber world. There are many compartments there, many other systems there. With regard to systemic perspective, you look at the interaction of each module and also you look at the interaction between those modules as well. So we have looked at the system with regard to those systemic perspective. When we look at the perspective, the systemic perspective with regards to use of technology, the major implementation there is the self check-in. You have to check in with yourself and you have to regulate your emotions. You also have to be aware of yourself. What's going on right now? What am I feeling right now? What are my expectations? What are my yearnings right now? So the major part there, studying with technology and the implementations of technology is self-congruence. You have to be aware of yourself and you have to balance yourself. You have to be much more congruent with yourself. When you can balance that congruence, when you become much more congruent with yourself, then you can regulate your emotions much more easily. In order to achieve that, we have implemented several activities. One of them is self-centering. In self-centering, you generally role model the people in your group to self regulate with breathing, inhale and exhale. There are many different techniques with regard to inhale and exhale, but the majority of the population focuses on the box technique. So we started with the box technique as well, but also we used 2-4-3-6 techniques in breathing as well. Besides that, we use the Virginia Satir centering techniques as well. In centering techniques, you become much more aware with your body, and then you try to realize the control of your body there as well. When you realize the control of your body, you can regulate your emotions much more easily. So, for example, while you are yearning for that phone or while you are craving to go online to play that game, you calm yourself down just for a second and ask yourself what's going on right now in my. And then you catch up some cues. For example, you might feel something in your stomach. So put your hand there, touch there. What's going on there? If your stomach has some words, what would they be? So we use much more experiential techniques there. And experiential techniques are majority of our studies as well. Besides that, we also focus on the incongruent scoping stances. When you become much more aware of the incongruent scoping stances, you can catch them up in your life and you can realize, and then you can start change. Change is the most critical part. You can become aware of anything, but becoming aware is not the solution. So, in order to solve the problem, you have to take some steps to start the transformation. Within that modules, we majorly focused on how you can start to change, how you can start implementing the change. So, what are you going to do with this? What are you going to do with this information? What are you going to do with this information right now? What are you going to do with this information this week? So try to imagine, try to visualize what you are going to do. What's your next step? Just becoming aware is not the solution. When we carried out the activities, we had different groups of trainees. For example, in one of the groups, our trainees were students, in one of them, the teachers, in one of them, the parents. They are all from, they might seem from different scopes, but when we look at them, they all have similar yearnings. When we look at from the systemic vision, the systemic perspective, they have labels, they have roles there. But behind those roles, behind being a teacher, behind being a student, behind being a parent, they have the role of being a human. There's a human being. So they all have similar yearnings, expectations with regard to technology and technological problems there as well. So the major important part there is connecting with their humanity and connecting with their human being. When you look at them, when you realize that connection, actually that connection is missing. In life, after the pandemic, most of the people have their own bubbles. That's why connecting with regard to humanity, with regard to social balance is the critical part. After this training, after those trainings, we generally are looking for the experiential implements on the trainees. What are they taking back from their life, from this seminar, from this workshop? Because this workshop is limited. Maybe some of them have a 1 day workshop, maybe some of them have participated in an hour workshop, half an hour workshop. It's not important. The time is not important. The critical part is what are they taking back to their life? So that's going to start change. And when we look at the perspective of our trainings, our major trainings, we generally use experiential. So they have to experientialize their learning there. We were also looking at self-check-in, and we were also trying to settle them down at the level of self congruence.